Welcome to JacsSaysSmile, where I will be sharing, not a little bit, but absolutely everything that I get up to with you, because nobody puts Jack in a box. Hey guys, welcome back to JacsSaysSmile. It's me, Jacko Cody, and today I'm just going to explain to you about the disabilities I have and just kind of what it's been like growing up with them, because they are physical ones, and obviously I've grown up dancing. Doesn't really go well together unless you have a good mindset. So, not going against science, I can only speak for myself. But yeah, so I have arthritis, which is now in remission, woo! And I also have Reflex Sympathetic Dystrophy, and I've had that since I was 9, and my arthritis since I was 4. So, yeah, I don't really talk about this much, so it's really weird talking about it in like story time way. I just always drop things in passing, and people are like, wait, what? And I think it's really important to remember that often we get upset or angry or annoyed, however it is you may feel or you express intense emotions, when without really expecting people to have understanding of things. So yeah, it's like, oh, how can you expect someone to understand something if they've maybe never been explained? And obviously it isn't always your responsibility to, explain race or this or that. And I know I've always grown up feeling like certain agendas aren't my responsibility to educate people on. But if you do want people to have an understanding of things, maybe they've not had the opportunity to, grow up in an environment where it's open to speak about certain things, or they've met someone like you. And it's important to remember, we are all so different. The way I am with my disabilities, other people are complete polar opposite with how they take them on or react to situations around them. Everyone is so different, and there's no right or wrong. But again, it's always important to just make sure that communication is at the key of everything, because that's how people are going to learn. And yeah, we can all kind of just get on in harmony just for general life. So yeah, I have arthritis. I found out I had it when I was 4. I was sat on the sofa with my family watching Titanic, and I didn't get up the whole time, and I was sat with my legs crossed and couldn't unfold them. Basically, it really is as simple as that. And from that, going to the doctors, yada, 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 yay, we figured out I had rheumatoid arthritis. So growing up, what that meant was I have it in my jaw all the way down. So basically have it everywhere apart from my eyes. And I used to always have to go and get my eyes tested, but I never had it in my eyes. I know, arthritis in the eye. Like, what happens? I guess it will just go inflamed. So with arthritis, you can have inflammation and stiffness of your joints. And I never had it in my eyes, which is great. One less thing to worry about. But yeah, it just meant that for me, a lot of the times in the morning, it took me really long to get out of bed. In the mornings, I'd often have to use crutches to start off with the day, or a wheelchair quite a lot. And the fact that I wasn't completely wheelchair bound, but I used wheelchair as an aid, that had a lot of kind of negative impacts just in regards to how I felt that people perceived me and the things that people would say to me. So in primary school, for example, you can't blame children, they're inquisitive and they ask me questions and they're curious, and that's beautiful. But when you're also a child, that goes over your head, and it just feels like you're different and people are picking on you. And people would very much just be like, oh, you're in a wheelchair one minute and then you're not the next. You're fake. That is like my borderline, look at me, I am getting aggravated. That is something that ticks me off. Dude, I can wear a pair of heels and yeah, I'm disabled. Like, what are you saying? Everyone is different. Yeah? So, getting way too high and talking about this. I should have totally planned this video a lot more. But I didn't really want to. I just want to have a chat with you guys. So yeah, there was a lot of that growing up in school from young people, which now looking back in hindsight, obviously it's understandable. However, I did get some negative comments from teachers as well, and I remember that teacher, I remember that comment forever, as will my mother. Go mum, go mum. My absolute ride or die. And yeah, so that was kind of tricky, and I guess I was always got upset, but I was quite good at taking things on the chin. But apart from kind of things like that, I'm bringing them up because I want people to understand that, you know, those are the kind of things that can be said. But for me personally, that was such a small part of growing up with disabilities, that kind of negative side of things. And I always just really enjoyed myself. Like even in therapy now, it's like, how was being in a wheelchair growing up so hard? Yeah, and it's like, no, I had a great time. I played with my friends. I went on family holidays. I mean, I wasn't the one pushing me up the hill, lol. But yeah, like I had a really great experience of it. I had friends. It was all fun. So that's primary school. And I also got Reflex Sympathetic Dystrophy, which is a pain disorder, which I think they now call CPRS. And it's one of those things that people just don't know about it, not even doctors. They do know about it, but you know, there's very limited information on it, and it's one of those things that I feel that people often see as a little bit wishy-washy, because there's, you know, it's a pain disorder, it's psychological, it's connected to loads of things. So like for me, there was so many direct triggers. So being a pain disorder, also it being a lot of pain with my arthritis, that could then trigger my RSD. So it could be like my wrist was really sore because I was writing all day or something, and then like my whole body would just like shut down, and I'd be like in my wheelchair for like a week because it's the reaction to the pain. However, it's also psychological, so especially really tricky when you're young and you can't manage your emotions. I mean, managing them now is still really hard and you have to work on it consciously, but you don't really have that as a kid. So if anything happens, like it can just trigger it to set off. And like honestly, I remember, you know me, I love my stationery, all my pencils. Yeah, I love it. I like lost a pen once and I was a state, and like all of a sudden my legs are cold, they're numb. I'm like over a pen. But when you're at that age, that's important. That's something that matters so much to you. And as you know, my love for stationery, and if you don't, who are you? But yeah, if you want to find out about them, go read up on them. I mean, I'm personally someone who has never really done all this reading into the problems that I have, just for the fact that I think, one, because when I was younger, you know, my mum would kind of look at all the like different extra remedies and stuff that can help. So when you're a kid, that's not of interest to you, do you know what I mean? And now I'm in remission, so I still have like chronic pain, but where I'm so much better, like nothing like what I was before. I haven't used a wheelchair since I was 16. Yeah, I've kind of just grown up learning how to understand my body physically, just being my body and going through day-to-day experiences and stuff like that, and knowing, you know, too much of this will mean I can't do this, and, you know, just kind of learning my body's limits naturally. And I kind of like that way. Yeah, I mean, secondary school was obviously a little bit harder because you want to be more independent. Where I went to school, the lower school, so year 7 to year 9, it was a listed building, so they couldn't put in any like proper ramps. It was all like steep stone and wooden staircases that like people weren't even allowed to walk on some of the staircases because you just like fall through. Yeah, so it was a madness. So I basically was just in the library every day. I spent a lot of the time, most of the time of lower school, on my own in the library. I had loads of different teaching assistants. Then there was one, and she was there for a while, and I didn't like her at first, but then I grew to like her, and I found something in my diary that she made me, and it was a little picture of a little soldier, and it said trooper. Jackie's a trooper. But then she used to buy me whisper bars as well. Legendary. And then she went, and then the kind of cycle began again, and then the legend, the one and only Miss Yadelka. Like, I don't know how I would have went through school without that woman. I was on my own a lot of the time, not in lessons. We clicked. Like, she was so cool. Like, she was the coolest woman I'd met in my whole life. Yeah, she was like in her 50s, but she was my bestie mate. Yeah, and I just learned so much. She just made learning so fun. Read books, explore new things. Like, she knew what I was interested in, because she actually gave a hoot. Like, she was so good at her job. So we just do little projects, learn about other stuff, and yeah, so being in the library, that's where my love for books comes, and obviously that's where my love for writing comes as well. And these are only things that I really realised in hindsight, because I danced, I'll get back to that, but I'd always danced on and off from a very young age. But writing has always been the thing that is there for me, even when I couldn't move. So I think it was inevitable, and I don't think I really realised that was my thing. But yeah, I'm smiling because I love when everything plays out. But then when I went to upper school in year 10, there was a lift, so I could go to my lessons, and if I was in too much pain, like more with like my RSD, because it would make my legs go like cold and numb and have like pins and needlesy kind of spasmy things, I had a quiet space that I could go to. It was the same place as isolation. Why are you putting me in isolation, bro? Cut it out. That is something I do differently. I don't care if I have to book out a whole different room for people. Yet, to be fair, it's like there was no like SEN department room in upper school. When I come to think about it now, that's what it needed. That's exactly what it needed. Moving on, because I am talking so much. There are so many stories, which I'll go into things in more details, like separately, different stories that I really like. But coming on to dance, yeah, I'd always danced. I danced from before I got diagnosed with arthritis. And when I got diagnosed, obviously I was a kid, my parents let me do football, karate, whatever, all the things you do before your child knows what they actually enjoy. And when I got diagnosed, they were basically like, yeah, you've got to stop everything else because it's a contact sport. So dance was the only thing I was allowed to do. Bearing in mind the doctor's thinking, oh yeah, it's a little bit of ballet. Not that ballet is soft. I was lucky enough to be obsessed with dance. And yeah, it was quite hard, but you know, when I couldn't get it, I couldn't go. Sometimes my mum used to go make me go watch my lessons sat in my wheelchair, but that's why I'm a trooper. Growing up as a kid, honestly, like, it really didn't bother me. Like, or I just don't remember, and I've like cleared it from my mind. But it would be like frustrating and I'd get upset, but it was not the end of the world. It was just how things have always been. For when you're 4, you know, that's when your main memories start. And so for me, I've never really known any other way, so it's just normal. And that's what it is for so many other people that I know with varying disabilities. And that's why when it's like, oh, that must be really hard, it's like, no, it's not. It's me. I think it's when I went to college, dance college, that I realised it was really hard. In first year, I was very much deluded. I'd been in remission for like 2 years, still obviously suffering chronic pain, but I wasn't having inflammation. And I was just like, you know how dance college is, you got like 10-hour days, and I was going for like a 40-minute run in the morning, a 40-minute run in the evening. That's too much. That's a lot for anyone, yet alone my bones having and muscles being like worn away with the problems that I have. So yeah, first year I was very much like, I'm so full out, whatever. Second year, it just took its toll on me, really. I did realise it in first year. I did see it was happening, but I just didn't really want to accept it. In second year, I mean, it was still very similar, really, but I was kind of a bit more aware of it. Third year, dude, absolute nightmare. Not that you would know, because that's not my personality. I was always kind of person who I like looking after other people, and I think the thing that I always thought is that when you like to look after other people and care about other people and try and be a role model, that you have to be perfect. And that is the thing I would say. If you know, maybe you have younger brothers and siblings, you know, there's always younger people than you at school, or, you know, you have people who look up to you, if you're a teacher, if you're, you know, you have a big following, anything like that. Like, you are a human being, and if you're put on a pedestal, you have to make sure that you're looking after yourself and your mind, because otherwise it will just get to the point, you know, where the cup is full and it's just gonna overflow. And to me, that's kind of what happened in third year, but it was only kind of in my personal life that I let it show. I didn't like let it show when I was at college. And I lived with my best friend at the time, Aaron Bell. He was the best. So I couldn't have lived with anyone else while all of that was happening. And, you know, I was kind of having to miss a bit of lessons and stuff like that started happening in third year, which I think I kind of tried to ignore that it was actually happening, or even when I was looking back in hindsight very soon after. But like, I did actually have to miss stuff, and I couldn't do Latin because the pulling up in the knees was hard and too much tap. I did all the taps so I could do my exams and get my teachers, but in terms of like all the freestyle stuff, like the fun stuff, like that was times where I had to hold back on that as well. And yeah, I loved college. It was hard, really hard, but I absolutely loved it. And then I graduated. I did 3 contracts back to back, and then I did a play where I was dancing, and then I did a play, and then I did a panto, and then other things were coming up with like my writing and stuff like that, and my agent dropped me. And after that, I was just really thinking, like, it was really hard. And I had like, on my first job, I had like the company manager would literally put like ice packs like on my dressing table all the time, constantly refilling them, which was super cute. And yeah, I'd just be like icing my feet when I came off stage, dancing in the hills and that. And yeah, I love dancing, and I get frustrated in terms of really just being defensive when people go, "Well, do you not want to dance anymore?" And it's like, I love dancing, but I do actually love facilitating performing arts for young people and writing more, even though everything that I'm doing now is a lot harder than how it was going when I was performing, because it was going really well. But yeah, I'm going on such a tangent because I'm just having a conversation. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. So yeah, basically, growing up, dancing with disabilities was theoretically hard. Did it feel hard as a young child? No. As a teenager with the dance stuff? No. As a young adult who's decided they're going to be a professional dancer? Yes. As a working adult, yeah, it was hard, but I'd kind of built up so much resilience that my body, I just knew how to look after my body. And as someone who now doesn't dance anymore, whose whole life revolved around wanting to become a dancer, is it hard? Yes, because I'm still young and I only stopped maybe like 3 years ago. But I've learned that I dance for myself, and the things I actually want to do and put out in the world is all about storytelling and really just making sure that other people's voices are heard through theatre about topics like this. So that was just me rambling on, just kind of giving you a bit of background on me and my disabilities and kind of how it all started, just because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff to do with like spoon theory and chronic disabilities on my page, so I just wanted you to kind of get to know me and my background and my disabilities. So yeah, that is all for today. Make sure that you subscribe, check me out on Instagram, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.